everybody, this is episode 5 of Rehab with Seal, lower leg, foot and ankle. So Sid was MIA last week, but I have his leg with us tonight to show you some anatomy things. He moves a little bit better in all these areas than I do, so he's back for this week to show us some stuff. And just as ever with these little videos, it's kind of going to follow roughly the same pattern. Some brief anatomy, some dysfunction, and then a little routine of how you can try and help yourself with some niggles and ailments at home. So the gadgets and gizmos you're going to need for tonight's session is pair of toe separators for the end, spiky ball. This one is actually a little bit too big. It's okay if you use this one, it doesn't matter. I would love to use a slightly smaller one. I just can't find mine. I think I loaned it out to someone and never got it back. But yeah, it's a little bit too big. If you've got a slightly smaller one, that's even better. But this works just as well. Franklin ball, a tightly rolled hand towel, wobble board if you've got one, although I got this from like a supermarket for like £6 or £7, so they're not expensive. You can get them online really easy. That's particularly a good gadget to use after an ankle fracture or a foot fracture, but I'll show you later on in the video how to use that and get the most of that. And then last but not least, my absolute favourite, my Shakti mat. Although you might not like what I'm going to get you to do with it at the end, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So lower leg, foot and ankle, here we go. The knee, it's the biggest joint in the body. A lot of stuff can go wrong with the knee, just because there's a lot of stuff involved in it. Your knee is composed of your femur, your patella, and your tibia. So your patella is one of only 2 bones in the whole body. The other one is actually your big toe, where the tendon actually grows through the bone. So as your main quad muscle comes down the front of your leg, the tendon comes through the top of the patella and out through the bottom and actually attaches roughly in here-ish, give or take. And therefore the patella works on like a pulley system. So as you bend and straighten your knee, your patella slides up and down this tendon. And I actually had a question about how to unstick your patella at home. It's something I find in clinic is a lot of stuck patellas. It's giving people a lot of knee pain, just because the knee can't articulate properly if they're doing a lot of walking or running, and it causes a lot of swelling and just little problems. So I will try and keep composed doing this technique to myself because I don't particularly enjoy it, and I always warn patients in clinic that it's not going to be very pleasant. So I'll be on my best behaviour trying to demonstrate that technique to you. It's actually it's a great technique for unsticking it like that. It's just apprehension about doing it. It's not very pleasant, so I'm just warning you for when that comes. So yeah, in the knee as well, you've got loads of bursa, ligaments, tendons, meniscus, cartilage. There's just a lot of stuff that can go wrong with it. So please look after your knees because they're kind of important. And yeah, you can get them replaced, but it's never good as having the real thing. And then just till we dislocate Sid, further down the chain, we've got your ankle. And ankles are quite, like I say, ankles and feet really intrigue me. There's just a lot of stuff going on in this area of the body. So with the ankle, you have a little bone in here called your talus. And that's just from the posterior view. So your talus doesn't have any muscular attachment. I'm pretty sure it's the only bone in the body actually that doesn't have any muscular attachment to it. So its position in the foot and ankle is actually dictated by all the other bones in there. And so if anything is dysfunctional, you're going to have in your foot, you're going to have real issues with this talus. And this talus can get stuck a little bit too anteriorly, but it can also get a little bit stuck posteriorly. And that can be quite a common thing, and we can play about with that in clinic and get it to behave a little bit better. But some of the stuff I'm going to show you tonight is just generally going to open up the whole foot just to get a little bit of pressure off it. So if you are having a bit of a like gungy, sticky ankle, then that will hopefully just relieve some of that for you. Foot, I just love it. It's just so much stuff can go wrong with it, but what a relief you can give someone when it really starts to behave. Sometimes I do wonder if I should have been a podiatrist, because I do really like feet. So the foot, 26 bones, 33 joints, 100 muscles, ligaments and tendons. Please promise me you're going to start looking after this, because I just think people's feet are so far away from their brain, they kind of forget about them sometimes. And the amount of runners, dancers, football players, rugby players, people who are hairdressers, people who are standing on their feet all day, they just neglect their feet, and we really need to start looking after these, because it's just so important. If your foot is not behaving because you maybe got a verruca, so say you have a verruca on the sole of your foot, they're pretty painful. So you'll start adjusting your gait to not put pressure on that area, which then in turn, like I say, if your talus is dictated by everything else in the foot and you start offsetting a bit, you'll start jamming the talus, which will then start jamming your ankle movement, which will then start jamming your knee movement, hip, back, and suddenly you've got a shoulder problem because the way you're walking, because of this, say, verruca or plantar fasciitis or whatever issue you had with your foot. So please start looking after this, especially after you've had a fracture. I broke my ankle a couple of years ago, and the amount of rehab I did just to get my foot dorsi and plantar flexing properly again was incredible. So I know it's really boring, but it's just such an important part of the body. Probably one of the most important parts. That's a bit disrespectful to other body parts, but just so much can go wrong with your foot that causes so many issues further up the chain, and people just think it's a further up the chain problem. So yeah, please look after your feet. So hopefully this routine will show you how to look after them better, and you'll feel like you've got new feet, a bit like when we did the hand. So yeah, let's start a little routine and get your whole lower leg moving a little bit better. So I'm just going to move myself again so you guys can see what's all going on. So we're going to start with Franklin ball, and all we're going to do with Franklin ball is just generally open up just the whole leg and into the foot before we start using the teaspoon and getting right in about all that. So just like we do with most other body parts, just the weight of your hand, you're not pushing in really hard, you're just literally putting the weight of your hand on the ball, and you're just going to do that sort of circular, up and down, side to side, diagonal movement all through the lower leg. And remember to do the other side too. And all through the foot. Get into those toes. And like I say, all this is doing is just opening everything up. It's just getting a really good blood supply into it before we start. Over the top of the foot. Round your ankle. Kind of back to where we started. And like I kind of showed you in the last episode, that fanning technique all around the knee is kind of where we're going to start today, just to get these two areas really opened up really well. So with your teaspoon, you're just going to start just kind of like in line with your knee and just do this really nice fanning motion all around the knee. You can fan towards yourself or you can fan away from yourself. It doesn't really matter. But if you concentrate a little bit, like I showed you in the last video, on the last sort of like inch and a half directly from your knee, that'll be really good for helping to unstick the patella later on. So if you do a couple of minutes on that, just fanning all that out, that's really, really good. And then once you've kind of done all that, same thing, you're going to work all the way through your leg and into the foot. So you're going to work down the front of the shin, it's nice and slowly, and as you get to kind of just maybe about half an inch above your ankle, or this lateral malleolus is a technical term for it, you'll start to probably feel some bubbly stuff all around here. And you've got it's almost like a cuff of fibrous tissue called your retinaculum, that can get really congested and really gunky. So as you work down the leg, for me it's about here, so that's what, maybe about 2 inches, maybe closer to 3 above my malleolus. I start to feel this gungy, like bubble wrappy type sensation, and you just want to work a little bit slower off, wee bit slower through all that, and just gently work through it, and try and reduce some of that bubble wrap stuff that's in there. It's just adhesion. It's just reducing your ankle movement. But this was the ankle I broke, so it's a little bit more congested than my other side. And then you can kind of come down the posterior side of that malleolus, and then into your heel, and work through all that in this fanning motion. You'll probably find some yucky, bubbly bits all in there too. And then you can start working all the way across the surface of the foot. And then don't forget the bottom end of your foot, the plantar side of your foot. So you almost want to do like a potato peeling motion with this one. I mean, you can lie, you can sit and almost do this scraping technique through it too. That works quite well. If you just want to put a bit more gusto into it, you can do your potato peeling technique. This will probably be very uncomfortable. Sometimes people find it really ticklish. Unfortunately, the more you do it, the better it's going to get. It's just sensitivity. Again, you'll find some really horrible, yucky hot spots through that. And then once you've done that, a bit like what we did with the hands, you want to come through in between each toe and work through all that, and then in between them as well, and just give them a little bit of separation, and work on the lateral side of each toe, on the inferior side, and also through the superior side, and just work all through that, doing each one all the way down. And I promise you, you won't even recognise your feet after it. They'll just feel so wide and open. Like, you'll really, really enjoy that. Maybe not at the time, but afterwards it'll be really, really good. So work through all of that with your teaspoon. Then we're going to come back to the knee. I'm going to show you how to open out that patella a bit. So with your hand towel, you're just going to roll it as tightly as you can, and what you're first going to do is bend your knee, hand towel straight under, don't have it down here, right under the crook of that knee. And what we're first going to do is we're just going to try and mobilise this fibular head a little bit. So just the head of the fibula can get a little bit stuck all up here. So what you want to do is kind of give your leg a little bit of a cuddle underneath the towel, so you're kind of keeping that towel in place. And you basically want to just slowly bring the foot towards your bum, and at the end you want to just give it a little squeeze and let it go. And bring it in and give it a little squeeze, and just keep that towel as close to the crook of your knee as you can. And what you're doing, like I say, is mobilising the head of that fibula. So I'll just show you on this side. What we're actually doing is you're making this little bone here move a little bit. So the fibula has a joint with the tibia at the superior end and at the inferior end. And what you can sometimes find happens is it can be a little bit displaced, but not displaced enough that you would have to go to hospital. It's all within that natural parameters. So sometimes this end can come a little bit too posteriorly, so this end can move that way too much. And if it moves that way too much, it kind of has to work like a seesaw. This bottom end comes a bit that way too much. Or if it goes this way, that has to go that way. So you're just giving that a little bit of mobilisation just to get it moving again, getting a better blood supply into it, flushing any rubbish that's accumulating throughout the length of it. So, like I say, giving that leg a bit of a cuddle and bringing it in. And what I can actually feel is everything's kind of moving up around here. So, as much as we're working the fibula, you've got to remember all the different muscle attachments and lymphatics and blood vessels and everything else that's all going on in that area. So that's really nice for getting that kind of moving a little bit. And then from there, just bring your leg straight down onto the towel just to give it a bit of cushioning. And what you want to check for is how well this kneecap's moving. So mine's, if I just relax a bit more on there. Sorry if this is giving people the book a little bit. Mine's moves quite well side to side. It's okay forwards and backwards. Could be a lot better. It moves quite a lot side to side. So, like I say, try to compose myself here. It's not my favourite technique. You want to make a C shape with your thumb and pointer finger. And you kind of want to cup that patella. You want to put a good force through it, but you're just holding it. So once you've kind of got that force, just hold it. Don't move the hand. You want to keep it there. And all you want to do is just gently tighten your quad muscles. So as you're sitting there, you want to gently tighten and let it go. And gently tighten and let it go. And it's basically a little resisted technique. So what you're trying to encourage the patella to do is try to move along the pulley system, but you're not allowing it to. And you'll find where it's stuck and you'll feel like it wants to kind of move. You might feel a teeny little bit of sort of adhesion popping a little bit. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. Just be really careful with it. You don't have to put too much brute force into it. But you're just holding it and you're just gently tightening it and letting it go. And tightening it and letting it go. It's a tiny little movement. It's not a huge gross movement. And then just check it. Just see if it wiggles a little bit more than it did before. So I'd say mine's going a little bit further forwards and backwards. It was already pretty good side to side. But that's a really, really good one for anyone who feels their knees a little bit stuck, especially if they've been sitting a lot and then try to go and do a little walking. It'll not be happy. So give that a wee bash and see how you get on with that, and you can let me know if that helps in any way. Now we're going to fan through this gully. So edge of tibia, belly off the muscle. There's like a little gully in between the two, and that can get really adhesed and really congested too through there. So again, back to your teaspoon, and what you're going to imagine is just kind of pressing through it as if you were gently peeling the muscle away from the bone. It is really, really gentle. And again, that just kind of helps open all that up. It's quite good for people with shin splints. We'll work through all that. So you can do that a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4 times, all the way through the length of that. And then to get a little bit more through there, you're going to get your spiky ball. And you could probably use this on a foam roller too, but that's just even bigger than this. So try and spiky ball or something a little bit, a spiky ball a bit smaller than this. And you want to get back on that gully, or as close to that gully as you can. And kind of like how we've done in previous videos, you want to do like a pin and stretch techniques, or like a pinning technique. So you're just going to gently roll through the gully and find these little hot spots we keep talking about. So there's one there, and you just want to gently sink into it 20-30 seconds, and then just give it a wee wiggle through there, and then roll down, find the next little hot spot, sink into it 20-30 seconds, and then once you've done that, give it a little wiggle through the hot spot just to break it up a little bit more, And you can do that all the way through the shin, all the way down to the ankle, and work all through there. Then you can work through the sole of the foot. You can use a chair for balance if that's a bit easier. Again, you can trigger point through this as well, but I think it's quite nice just to roll through it and actually try and get the foot moving. So don't kind of just like kick forwards and backwards with the ball. You actually kind of want to move the foot over it. So you can go forwards and backwards, you can go side to side, you can do circles. What's quite nice as well is to actually spread your toes over the ball, so you're getting a little stretch to those toes as well. And you can do like a sort of fanning technique through all that. You can use a Franklin ball on this too. And then you want to do the other foot and compare them and see which one is a little bit better, which one's a little bit worse. Is your balance different on either side? Do you find one movement is easier than the other? And then try and get them the same as the weeks go on. The more you do it, the easier it'll become. Then you want to get your wobble board. There's a couple of variations on this. You can do it sitting and standing with a chair and standing without. I'm just going to show you the seated version, mostly because it's the safest one to do, and it's probably where most people's flexibility is actually able to take them to do it as properly as they can. But you can ask me for more information if you want a little bit more of an advanced workout with it. But this is a really, really good technique. If you wear a lot of high heels, or if you've had a fracture in the foot or the ankle and it's all just a bit glued up. So basically it's all about encouraging better proprioception in the ankle joint. So you want to keep your body quite quiet, kind of quite still, and really all it should be moving is the lower leg. So what you want to try with this is try and get the rim of the wobble board to touch the floor forwards and backwards. So I'm pretty decent at the whole plantar flexion, not so good on the whole dorsiflexion. I really struggle to get the wobble board to tilt back towards me, and that's something that I need to try and work on. But I'm not bad at pushing it away. So once you've maybe done about a minute, 90 seconds of going forwards and backwards, then you can go side to side. Again, this is quite a good little technique for improving people's balance. People who tend to fall over quite a lot for whatever reason that is, whether it's neurological or neuropathic, or they're actually just generally quite clumsy like myself. There tends to be, if you're quite clumsy, you've got quite poor proprioception. And then once you've done forwards and backwards and the side to sides, you can try and do a clockwise and anti-clockwise. Try to get the rim touching all the way around. It's actually pretty difficult. It shows you, this is really demonstrating how poor my ankle mobility is. There are certain sections of this board that are quite easy to touch the floor, and other sections that are really quite difficult. So definitely something I could be working on when I've got time for it. So you can give that a bash and see how you go. Like I say, if you'd like some more advanced options, you can give me a bell, and we can show you how to work through them. And then the last kind of mean bit of torture I want to show you is, sorry about that, is with the Shakti mat. So with your Shakti mat, you should have a little bit at the top of the mat that doesn't have any acupressure points on it. So that's where we're going to start. And what we're going to do is start at the top and just gently walk your feet across the mat. I wouldn't just go jumping in and put both feet on. It can be pretty extreme. So if your feet are fairly sensitive, i.e. they're really, really tight and this has been really painful, try it with some socks on first, and that'll just reduce the sensitivity in there. For people who are able to tolerate it, start at the edge and work across so your feet are just quite firmly there. And it's a great way of working through the feet and releasing them off, especially if you wear heels, if you run a lot, anything where you're on your feet for a long, long time. This is really, really nice. And you can stand there a minute, 90 seconds, see what you're able to tolerate. You might not be able to last that long, but it's definitely something to aim for, is building up into how long you can stand on that for. And then last but not least, something I harp on in clinic about a lot is toe separators. Again, you'll get these online, they're really readily available. And it's something I encourage a lot of people to do, is just whenever they come in from work, just kick your shoes off and get the toe separators on and just wander about the house with them on. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to stretch out all these 100 odd muscles, ligaments and tendons that are getting compressed all day in a pair of shoes, or if you're on your feet all day. You have to think, your poor foot, this poor little thing, is taking up all your body weight all day, every day. The only time it gets a rest is when you're in bed. So, like I say, we really need to start looking after them a little bit better. So, coming in from work, take your shoes off, just have these lying at the door so you can put them straight on, and just walk about the house with them on. They'll be quite odd at first. I think when I first started wearing them, I could only really wear them for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'd take them off because they were a wee bit irritating. But it's just because my foot wasn't used to being open. It's because my foot had been compressed from years of running. So these are a good wee little addition to any routine, and they're so easy. You can just put them on, and you're not even really going to notice you're doing anything to actually fix a problem. But your foot will feel really, really good after it. Again, it's just that wideness and that space that's been brought to it that I think we forget we're supposed to have, and it's not until you get it back you're like, oh wow, like my foot was really, really tight before. So I really highly recommend getting some toe separators like these ones. And these jelly ones are really good. The foam ones for painting your nails not so much, but the jelly ones are pretty good. They're just a bit more robust and they just give you that slightly bigger stretch. So I definitely recommend getting some of them. So that was a brief overview of lower leg, foot and ankle. So I hope you guys are finding these helpful. And I'm going to continue doing a little series. Now that I've done regions of the body, I'd love some ideas that you'd like to see. What would you like to show? What would you like me to show you specifically, or other more advanced techniques that are safe enough to try at home? So touch base with me, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, bye!